Okay, what everybody is talking about, which would be the Goldberg against the Undertaker, and it was the worst match of the year. I don't know if it was the worst match of the year, but it wasn't. It wasn't a crisp, five star Dave Meltzer kind of match. But what do you expect from two legends who are in their 50s wrestling in 100-degree heat? They weren't. I mean, Goldberg was never a great wrestler to begin with. Goldberg started out with two huge spears. But with Goldberg, though, why he comes out with a gash on his head? Like, what, did he still bang his head against the locker room while he still did the Goldberg thing where there's some Saudi Arabian bodyguards and he comes out with a little blood on his forehead? Like, why is he still bashing his head against the wall? Why is he doing that? And then Taker threw him into he threw him into the turnbuckle, and he totally lacerated himself. Big time laceration there. And he was out of it the rest of the match. I mean, they're 50-year-old men. I mean, Goldberg, even in his prime, was never a guy who wrestled for 20 minutes. He came out, he did a couple spears, he did the jackhammer, and that was about it. That's what he did. That's how he won matches. I mean, he had the match against Hogan on Nitro, and that was that went about 7 minutes or so, but that was never his thing. He came back, he squashed Lesnar in 2 minutes. He wasn't a great worker. Like, for what he could do and the way he was getting over for what he did was perfect for him. Like, he couldn't really work. The Undertaker, though, I mean, of course, he's the Phenom, he's a legend, but, he's looking a little too old. But Goldberg, after Undertaker, they started out, looking at each other. Undertaker gives him a punch, and then Goldberg hits him with a couple spears, and you're thinking, oh my God, are they going to, because I was wondering, how would you book this match? How would you book the match? What's the best way to book this match? Like, one of those short things, because Goldberg is not going to squash the Undertaker for sure. He's not going to squash him. So how is this going to work? They have to go 8 minutes or so. Maybe he thought he could go 10 minutes. Because Goldberg, I mean, he still looks great for being 50 years old or however old he is. He looks good. You got to admit, he looks good. But Undertaker is such a big and heavy guy, man, and I think he had to be concussed or something. He was definitely loopy after he got thrown into the turnbuckle. And then the blood that was on his head, he was totally lacerated. That wasn't a blade job or anything. It's like Goldberg, remember he came out on that one interview on Raw a year or two ago, and he had blood on his forehead. Like, Goldberg's got to stop bashing his head against the wall. First of all, don't bash your head against the wall, Goldberg, or a locker or something. You're going to knock yourself out. Well, and what Corey Craig said, it's like seeing Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali. I thought their entrances would last longer than the actual match. And people were saying about the Saudi Arabian crowd, like they weren't into it. I thought they were into it, man. They were making a lot of noise. They were giving like "this is awesome" chants, and I thought they were into it, man. They made a lot of noise. They had to get to buy their WWE gear and wear their stuff, and I thought they were pretty into it, man. They got Suplex City Jeddah shirt on, and I thought the Saudi Arabian fans were really into it, man. They got some kids, got their John Cena stuff. There's some women sprinkled in there. Goldberg came out in his, traditional Goldberg way. See, comes out, he's got a gash on his head already. Like, if I was like Goldberg, don't bash your head against the lockers or the wall before the match. Why do you do that? But you can't say that Goldberg doesn't look good. I mean, come on, he looks great. For being 50 years old or whatever, he looks good. He couldn't get into the ring with the Undertaker or Brock Lesnar or these guys. I mean, he is in good shape. He looks good for his age. It's not like he's been wrestling for 20-some years. I mean, after WCW, when he came back in 2003, had that horrible match at WrestleMania against Lesnar where neither one of them wanted to be there. And then, he did some spots here and there. It's not like he went to the Indies or anything like that. He came back 2 years for that Survivor Series against Lesnar, and he won the Universal title. And that match was a squash. And then, he dropped it back to Lesnar at WrestleMania. What was it, 34? Which one was it? A couple years ago. 2017, 2018. But Undertaker is, he's slow. It's like he can't really move anymore. I mean, those last matches with Lesnar, they were hellacious. I mean, they really beat the living snot out of each other. That was brutal. I mean, he did get up on the rope for the old school. But he can't really, he's slow. He can't really move anymore. Let's move ahead here. Took forever. I was like, it's going to take him longer to get into the ring. So I was like, this show was almost 4 hours. I know, yeah, I would have loved to seen this, 20 years ago. But, you get what you get. You get what you get. Or is it another thing with, it's what Saudi Arabia wants to see. They want to see it. It's another way to, bury a WCW guy, again, always got to bury WCW guys. I mean, Undertaker is 54 years old? He's 285 pounds. I know that Goldberg got him up. He tried to get him up for the jackhammer, and you can tell he was loopy anyway. And then he almost dropped him on his head. He didn't get him all the way up, but he landed on the back of his neck and shoulder. Lucky he didn't get completely dropped on his head. And his opponent. I mean, an Undertaker. Guys, you've seen Flair. I mean, Hogan in those days. When he wrestled Goldberg, he was almost, or in his 40s, he was 48, 49 when he wrestled Goldberg for the title in Atlanta. 98, was it? He was in his 50s when he wrestled The Rock. I mean, Flair he wrestled all the way up till, jeez, he wasn't as hurt. Goldberg, Undertaker. Who's next? I see somebody got a Trent Richardson jersey on in the crowd. They size each other up. Right? And then Goldberg gives him a little smirk. Then he does his throat slash, right? He does his throat slash after, and then Undertaker hits him with a right hand. And then Goldberg hit him with a spear. 2 spears right off the bat.
Taker's down. Undertaker
Two spear. He hits him with another spear. You're thinking, oh man, this can't be. Maybe they should have just ended it right there. You know, Undertaker kicked out. Like he's not gonna do a squash like that. No way. And then Undertaker does the sit up like he didn't feel it. And then Goldberg was firing away. Here he goes. And he's going for a choke slam, but Goldberg's fighting it. So he's holding him here. He gets him off here. Then, he rolls over on him and then puts him in a leg move. A knee bar. He puts him in a knee bar for a little bit. Yeah, he try to use a submission here. Slow it down a little bit. I know it's not. You're not gonna. These guys aren't gonna be jumping off the top rope doing moonsaults and 450 splashes and stuff like that. I mean, that's just not these guys. And as much as I love high-flying wrestling and even like CZW hardcore craziness, you know, I always like. My favorite was NWA in the 80s, you know, Jim Crockett. And those matches were definitely not like that. Like Undertaker compared, see, oh man, see? That's where Goldberg got hurt. He threw and now he was thrown for a loop. And Undertaker moves out of the way, and then Goldberg runs into the post, and he busts himself open, and he's all loopy. And that's where he kind of got messed up. So, I mean, it was what it was. It was cool to see him wrestle, but, I mean, you're not going to see it again. I know Goldberg is a total mess here. But, I mean, was it the worst match of the year? I don't know. I haven't seen every match. From what I've seen, I don't think it was the worst match of the year. It certainly wasn't the best. But for two legendary guys in their 50s, I mean, gave him a heart punch there. I mean, Goldberg really threw himself for a loop when he threw Taker into the corner. Taker moved out of the way. Goldberg ran into the post, busted himself open even more because he has to bash his head against the wall before he gets out in the ring. I don't know why. He was fighting back, though, but I think he's definitely concussed.
Goldberg, but the longer this match goes, the more it's going to favor the Undertaker. Goldberg
gets him in an arm bar, and then Undertaker goes for the old school, some old school. Oh, he hit him with the old school. They should have ended it right there. And this is the thing about. And he goes in for a choke slam. And then Goldberg gets to the ropes, trying to shake the cobwebs off, but he was definitely out of it. Here he comes. He grabs him. He gets him up. Oh, he got him for the choke slam. I mean, yeah, Undertaker definitely looks old. I'd like to see him go back to the American Badass look. And he tried to go for the tombstone. He's holding on. He's saying he dropped Goldberg on his head. He didn't drop him on his head. He tapped the top. He tapped and he kicked out. I've never seen anyone kick out of a tombstone really lately. People have kicked out of the tombstone. He didn't really drop him on his head. Undertaker was taking care of Goldberg, and Goldberg had his arms wrapped around his wrist or his waist. So he was totally protecting himself too. And he kicked out. Like watching Randy Orton kick out of a pedigree tonight. You rarely ever see anyone kick out of a pedigree.
Goldberg teeing off.
But then Undertaker started teeing off on Goldberg.
Big heavy rights and lefts from the dead man. Goldberg appears to be running on just
I did-
instinct right now.
He tried to tell you, whips him into the ropes. Goldberg ducks a clothesline. He hits him with, they did a double clothesline on each other. They did a double clothesline on each other. And they're both down. And then Goldberg gets up. I mean, these guys are 50 years old, 54 years old. What do you think is going to happen? And Goldberg was never a great wrestler, like a great worker. He wasn't going to go sick. He couldn't wrestle 60 minutes. It's not like he was ever a great technician. He knew a couple moves. He could spear. He could do a jackhammer. He could do like a headlock or a clothesline, a punch. You're not talking about, the great technician here.
Back toward the corner. Goldberg hasn't even
And Goldberg, whipped into the corner. And then here comes Undertaker into the corner. Oh, man, trying to move fast, but Undertaker, he's so slow. He tried to get him up again. Oh, he dropped him on the... Oh, but then... he dropped him head first into the turnbuckle. I don't know why he did that. And then, third spear by Goldberg and Undertaker. Then he tried to... I don't know why he would try to pick him up for this jackhammer if he can.
You don't think?
It looked like the Undertaker guy who was, with the shock face when Lesnar beat him. I think it was in the crowd. Like, oh, man, he almost dropped. He tried to get him up for a suplex. Yeah, he tried to jackhammer him. Yeah, he got some of it. He didn't really drop. He almost dropped Undertaker on his head, but luckily he landed on the back of his neck and his back. I love the way Graves and Cole and Renee are putting this over, man. They're gonna try to do it again, and I think say, all right, it's done. We gotta end this now. I don't think it was the worst thing. It wasn't great, but I don't think it was the worst thing ever. He tried to get him up. No, Goldberg was going to try to get him up for another jackhammer, and Undertaker was going to reverse it into a tombstone, and that didn't work. They're like, gotta go home, and he just beat him with this weak-ass... with the weak-ass jokes. I paused it right after Taker gets up. Can we see this here? Hold on. Let me just show you Taker's face here. Where is it? Can you see it? Here we go. Ready? Is that all you need to look? That's Taker right at. He's like, I can't believe this. He's like, what the heck, man? But hey, we made a lot of money, so what? We got through it, so it's okay. But it's two legends wrestling in their 50s. What do you want? Get what you got. It's Saudi Arabia. That's what they want to see. That's fine. It is what it is. Hopefully, Vince, he's got so much young talent now. And with AEW and everything coming along, Moxley's gone. Take some of these young guys, Ricochet. You got the Garganos and the Andrades and Finn. You still have Seth, Kofi, Dolph. Adam Cole, Black. I mean, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, these guys, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Get the match with Lashley, Braun, and Brock, man. Triple threat. The women's side. I mean, they still have so much. The talent roster now is just so deep. It's crazy, but hopefully he'll do that, and then we'll see. But that was Super Showdown. You can see the look on Undertaker's face. He's like, thank God this is over. But, I don't think it was the worst match ever. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, but I thought it was kind of cool to see these two legends in the ring go at it, even though it's 20 years too late. But the whole show, I enjoyed the show. I'd give the whole show a B. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. So, there's Calvin Fisk, y'all. Peace.